So it's very important that we understand our customers, understand their buying behaviors. Why are they buying these things? Why are they using my salon? The more you understand your customer, the more you are able to customize your products and services to meet their needs. Does that make sense? Does that make sense for the online community? I hope we can hear me loud and clear. I see we already have significant number of comments. I see you all, Imo State, Kogi State, Oyo State, Enugu State. We see you all. You're welcome. Thank you for letting us know. You are all welcome. There's so many states present. You are all welcome. Thank you very much. So yes, very important to know your customer. Someone else? Okay.
Now you talked about sales and marketing strategies, that we should have a good budget to provide a budget for our marketing strategy so that we can get enough profit. Because even if you produce a good product and you don't have a good marketing strategy, you're not the one that uses the product, it's your customer. So you need to provide a budget for that so you can generate enough profit for your business.
Fantastic. We must have a good budget for marketing because it's not enough for us to have this product. If we have the product and nobody knows about it, the product will just be a good product in our wardrobe or in our shop or in our lovely kiosk that we're about to win. And that's not what we want. We want buying and selling to happen. We want exchange of value. So I give you the service, you give me the money. Perfect combination. So yes, let's all remember that we must include a marketing budget in our plans because that is the only way the customer is going to know that these services or products exist. Very well said. Thank you very much. And if you want to state something from our online community, if you'd like to give us your comments, please kindly put it in the box, either in the chat room or in the Q&A box so that I can share. So we're just talking about some of the things we've learned from previous classes. Please feel free to share it in the box. I would be reading some out loud. Okay, who else?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Remember, we talked about identifying your barriers. For example, maybe cost of entry or location and the money required to start off, and the technology you require to use to start up your business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Identifying our barriers. What is going to stop us from doing this business? What is going to stop me from expanding my business? What is going to stop me from actually starting my business? So remember we spoke about how sometimes some businesses are wishes. They are like just hobbies. They are not actually businesses because you can't make them into profitable ventures, and we can't expand or scale the business into a larger entity. Do we remember that? So it's very important that we understand what we are in business for, understand the product, understand the service, and ensure that truly there is a market for it out there. Because sometimes, as good as the business sounds, it's just a hobby because it can't make money. Especially based on certain factors like your environment, your supply chain, the distribution channel it requires. By the time you look at all that, you're like, I can't make money from this thing. Maybe I need $10 million for this thing to become a business. I don't have it, so it can't make money. So that's very important. Thank you very much. Well said. Okay, let's go online. Francisca Durugo says that integrity is very important and avoid passive and unclear language. Absolutely. Remember we spoke about using very simple words, nothing technical, something that a primary school student can read. Okay, thank you very much. Aliu Sherifat says, we talked about unique selling points, the things to do to attract customers and keep them coming in for more. For example, refreshments, customer experience, neatness. Exact. Those are the exact examples we use. So I know that Aliu Sherifat was paying attention in class. Exactly. We gave the example of a salon. There's so many salons. What makes my own different? I guarantee you that if you come to my salon, no matter what style you want to do, you will be out in 2 hours. That is my unique selling point. I guarantee you that when you come to my salon, you will never go or leave thirsty because I would always give you a drink. I guarantee you that when you come to my salon and you bring your children, they will have cartoons to watch, they would have snacks, biscuits, and Capri Sun or Ribena to drink. They will be able to settle down, sit down, and get their hair done. So fantastic. My name, oh gosh, the messages move so quickly, I've lost that one. Okay, we have Oyege Gabriel Mfem. I hope I said that right. It says, I'm Oyege Gabriel from Cross River State. What I have learned is far beyond good quality products. Your consistency and being time conscious and good customer relationship matters. Yes, customer excellence. Your customers must experience something that makes them want to come back. So you must give your customers an experience. Remember I mentioned that we're no longer calling it customer service. We're now calling it customer experience because we realize that it's really the experience that people go for. Anytime I go to that salon, I get a foot massage. They are just massaging my feet while I'm doing my hair. I'm having a good time. Every time I go, they give me a complimentary drink. That's the experience. So that when I go and tell my friends that, have you been to Bimbo Salon? Please go to Bimbo Salon because when you go, your experience is going to be amazing. From the moment you walk into the door, the way the staff treats you and all that. A few friends of mine went to this new water park that they've just opened. I think it's called Sunrise Water Park here in Abuja. They were there over the holidays. And two different friends that are not really friends with each other. They know each other, but they are not really friends. And the two of them gave me the same exact feedback about the Sunrise Water Park. They told me, they said, Buki, you know that the typical Nigerian experience, unfortunately, is usually there. It might be great, but there will always be one small something there. None of that happened. They said from the moment they walked in till they left, they didn't even want to leave. One of them said they had to come and chase them out, that it's okay, madam, you can be going. We have closed. That they had such a beautiful experience. That the staff were amazing. They were polite. They knew everything. They cautioned them, madam, when you are going down the slide, hold your hands around your chest. Don't move around. Please, if you cannot swim, kindly wear a life jacket. Where is the toilet? Please let me take you to the toilet. It's not that they are just pointing to say the toilet is there. I will walk you to the toilet. The refreshments came on time. They said everything about the place was amazing. So me that I said, no, I can't go there. Guess what? Now I want to go. Now I want to go. Because I want to go and experience it myself. So you must give your customers an amazing experience. Let me take one more from the audience online. An anonymous attendee says, we talked about marketing and research analysis and also marketing and sales strategy. Absolutely. Let's not forget that if we are still using anonymous attendee online, we will not be able to identify you. So kindly always change your profile to indicate or highlight or showcase your name. Okay, our time is far spent. Let's get started. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so today, and thank you all so much for your input, for your feedback. I'm happy to know that and to see that we've learned quite a bit in the short amount of time we've spent together. Today we're going to be talking about budgeting. Unfortunately, this section, we're not looking at any numbers, we're not looking at any charts, we're not looking at any tables, because the idea is not to scare you and make you feel like, oh my goodness, the numbers part, the most difficult part. This is really just to explain. So over the next hour and a half, we're really just going to be rubbing minds and talking about the importance and some of the ways in which we can get our numbers for our business, which is the budgeting aspect of our business. Because every business needs a budget. For example, we spoke about even having a marketing budget, right? Do we remember? So every aspect of the business should be budgeted for. Otherwise, we shoot ourselves in the foot and then we get in trouble. Okay? So even salaries must be budgeted for. Your rent, if you want to get a shop, must be budgeted for. Your utilities, electricity, generator, petrol, all those things, you have to budget for them. So when you want to start your business and you're asking for money, all those things must be put into consideration. Otherwise, you find out that the money you were supposed to use to buy products, you are using it to pay salaries. And that's where the problems usually start. So budgeting is one of the most important. I know I've said since I started, I've been saying this is one of the most important parts of the business plan. Haven't I said that many times? What does that tell us? That every aspect of the business plan is important. I think that's the moral of the story. Don't underestimate any part of the business plan. Which means don't underestimate any part of your business itself. Every aspect of your business is important. Budgeting is very important. So it says here that a business budget estimates future revenue and expenses in detail. In detail, to see if you are on track to meet your financial expectations for the month, quarter, or year. So a lot of times we think that budgeting is something we do annually, every year. No. Budgeting is something you should actually do month in, month out. So every month you should have a budget of what the business is expected to do. So if you were, for example, in a bank, if we're bankers here, at the beginning of the year, they will give us a target, which is really our budget for the year, what we're expected to bring in as deposits into the bank, right? They will give you for the year. But if you are chasing the end of the year targets, you might find it cumbersome, overwhelming, because they can say, okay, bring 100 million by December. So if you are focusing on that 100 million, it's a lot of money. How do I get 100 million? That's a lot. But if we break 100 million into 12 months, so 100 million divided by 12 means that I'm supposed to get maybe 8.5 million every month. Then it sounds a little easier. It sounds a little better, doesn't it? So when we are doing our budgeting, let's not be too overwhelmed by the annual budget, because you are doing your budget for the year. What I'm going to need for this business for 1 year, that is the ideal scenario. But in that 1 year, let's now break it down into months. January, I need X amount. March, I need X amount. There are some times that helps us see exactly where and what months or what periods our businesses need the most money, or what periods our businesses makes the most money. Because if you are looking at it January to December, you are now looking at it month in, month out. So for the seasonal businesses, it's mango season, right? Who likes mangoes? I love mangoes. So please buy me mango before you leave. Before I leave, that will be my parting present. I want mango. So mango is a seasonal fruit. So if you are in the business of maybe fruits, right now will be your high season, which means the revenue you are going to be getting from mangoes is going to be a lot. So that means when you are looking at your budget or you're planning for your budget, the amount you put in March may be smaller than the amount you put in April, because you know that April is mango season, you are a mango seller, and you are going to harvest a lot of mangoes to sell. I hope that makes sense. The hairstylists and the fashion designers, December, from October, November, you start to get traction. You start to get business, because people want to buy or make their end of year hair and their end of year clothes. Just like the Eid celebrations we just had. I was driving around, I was seeing so many beautiful outfits. People were nicely dressed. They had to make that from someone. So whoever the fashion designers were or the tailors were, that season will be considered their high season. They will put it into consideration that Eid is coming. We're going to get a lot of customers. So the expected revenue for that period will be more than normal. Because after Eid, we don't really have any significant holiday again that requires us to sew and make nice clothes, except our birthdays, wedding anniversaries, and all those kinds of things. But if your business is a seasonal business, you have to always remember that and make sure it reflects in your numbers. Does that make sense? We'll be having a 5-minute stretch break at 11, but after 11, we will just run on till we close because it's a half day. So today we'll be having just one break. I just thought I should mention that for the interest of time. I hope that is fine with everyone. Okay, great. So it says from there you can make informed business decisions and pivot accordingly. For example, maybe you find that your expenses are over budget for the quarter, so you may hold off on large equipment purchase. The budget really guides us. It helps us to streamline our expenses. It helps us to know that my business cannot afford this extra blow dryer this month. But by next month, which is December, when I get a lot of business, a lot of customers, we should be able to afford that blow dryer. But we would have been planning for the blow dryer prior. So I mentioned earlier that we were having a guest speaker. He is with us presently, though he's streaming online. We have Honorable Adegoiga Isiaka, who is the chairman of House of Representatives on the Committee of Student Loans and Tertiary Education. You're welcome, sir. We can hear you, sir. I can see him. Yes, sir. You're welcome, sir.
My name is Oyeja Isiaka. I have a pleasure of, my pleasure to be here, just to share some few minutes of talk with us on this newly signed, student loan law by Mr. President. I happen to be the member of the House that was involved to some extent on the putting the law together. To start with is to thank Mr. President for including skill acquisition and vocational training as part of the people that can benefit from this student loan. In most parts of the world, what we have are the tertiary, education students. But because of the importance that this government has put on skill acquisition and vocational training, and I must add that also maybe because of the activities of the various offices and agencies, including the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on vocational and entrepreneurship education. Because of the activities, I think this part of study is becoming very popular, and therefore the Section 2 of the Act, of the Act, yes, clearly stated that skill acquisition and vocational training, trainees will be part of the beneficiaries. And what does this law say, provides, in very specific terms? It provides that, tuition fees and maintenance costs of students of tertiary and skill acquisition centers will be entitled to, a certain amount of money for school fees and for maintenance for, throughout the duration of their program. And I will just zero down more on the skill acquisition, since that is the one that is very relevant to us here. So what that means is that if you are in a in a particular skill acquisition training that meets the requirements of the board and management of NELFund. NELFund is Nigerian Education Loan fund. If you meet the particular terms of NELFund, it means that you can benefit from the from the facility. The law was just signed just I think a week plus ago by Mr. President, and quickly the management has been put in place. The MD and the EDs have been put in place. The next thing we are expecting now are the detailed guidelines for you as a potential beneficiary to actually benefit from this facility. That is being expected both from the board and then from the management. As soon as that comes out, then we will now be able to know what are those things that will be expected of us in order for us to be able to participate. But the broad, provision now means that we will now be able to do more of these activities, because anyone that wants to acquire one skill or the other will now not be deterred by the funding or the funds that is required, for you to do that, at least reasonably. It may not cover all of us in Nigeria that needs it at a particular point in time. But I know that the fund is so large that it will cover a sizable number of us. So I think there are good days ahead in tertiary and vocational and skill acquisition sector of our economy. We want our people to be much more skilled, so that we will stop importing skills from outside to do things that can be done here. And we feel that this is just one of those ways by which this can be done. And I must say that I think the government has done really well, about this. I think the other aspect of it that should also be mentioned is this move by NBT, the National Board for Technical Education, so that our skill acquisition trainees can actually be certified, so that when that is done too, it will be easy for us to be able to classify and grade that, okay, if you are undergoing training at a particular grade, this is what you can get. At a particular grade, this is what you can get. So all of these are meant to come out almost about the same time. If I have specific questions, I can answer it. I think the summary of what we are having now that I can say is that skill acquisition and vocational training has been included in the fund. And the fund is not a small fund. It's 1% of the federation account. Federation account is not a small amount of money. I think from customs alone, which is part of that federation account, the amount being expected into the federation account from customs this year is in the excess of 15 billion naira. And then, of course, we have the Federal Revenue Service, we have immigration, and a whole lot. So if 1% of that is being set aside, to fund student loans and then student and then acquisition, I think it's not a small amount of money. So what we expect is that year in, year out, this will happen, and a lot more people will get involved. Of course, after your training, a period after your training, you will now be meant to be able to, to pay back this. The provision of the law says that you'll be able to pay, you'll be required to pay a maximum of 10% of your gross income. So if and your gross income can be as an entrepreneur or as an employee. So if you get trained and then you get work after that, these are the kind of thing, and then you are meant to pay over a given period. But if you are not capable of paying yet, you will be required to wait until you are capable of paying in terms of getting a job. So those are the broad provisions of that law. Like I said, the next important thing we are waiting for now is the broad guideline. Is the guideline rather, the detailed guideline that will be released by the management, which has just been announced early last week by Mr. President. And then I know they are putting a lot of things together now. We've been talking, we've been working, we've been looking at various possibilities. I'm sure that in another couple of weeks, we'll begin to get the things that are required of you to be able to assess this. So those will just be my brief at this point. Sorry, I don't have any slide to share at this point. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We do appreciate and we're sure we would be harnessing this amazing opportunity. It's good to know that skills acquisition and vocational training have been added to the loan. So that means more people have been included in this opportunity. And we are thankful to Mr. President for that. Thank you so much, sir. We do appreciate your time. Thank you very much. I would like to pass the microphone to Ms. Abiola Arugundade, the Senior Special Assistant on Technical, Vocational, and Entrepreneurship.
Good morning. Thank you very much for being here again today, both you here and online. The reason why the chairman came was to encourage you that even if you do win the 500,000, doesn't mean you should not improve your skills. So the government, and I sit on that committee as well, for the student loans for technical, vocational, and entrepreneurship education. So it's to encourage you as you are upscaling, continue to upscale, continue to learn. If you're a hairdresser and you start with braids, as Buki mentioned, you can go into wigs, expand, and the government are here to support you. So whatever skill you had, like my brother here that is into soap making, you can expand, keep doing more things. So we don't want you to limit yourself. Even if this 500,000 naira puts you on level 1 or level 2, go to level 3, go to level 4, tap into this. And if you need any more information in terms of the student loan for technical, vocational, and entrepreneurship education, my office is open to you. We'll tell you how to get it and how to pay back. God bless you.
Thank you very much. We are thankful to the government for these amazing opportunities, and we encourage each and every one of us to tap into them. Let's upskill ourselves. Let's continue to grow. Let's continue to learn. Let's continue to improve on ourselves. Thank you very much. So, as we continue, speaking on budgeting, so the last thing we mentioned was that budgeting was really going to help us identify if we are on track in business or if we are completely off in our businesses. It also helps us know what amount of money we even need or is even required. We're going to be looking at some of the steps in which we would take to handle our budgeting for the purpose of this training. Okay? Okay, it says here are steps on how to create a business budget. The first step is to examine your revenue. Like I said, because we didn't want to overwhelm you with numbers, and because everybody's numbers will be different. Everyone's numbers will be different. So it's not really about the numbers, but about the process in which you get these numbers. That is what we are here to teach. How do I get the numbers that I need to complete or conclude my business plan, which in turn is to help me with my business. So it says the first step is to examine our revenue. One of the first steps in any budgeting exercise is to look at your existing business and find all of your revenue sources. Now, we understand that many of us are literally just starting. This is a brand new business that has never existed before. But we know the areas where we are expecting our revenue from. So if we are starting the hair business, where is the revenue coming from? There are some people that it's not only the making of the hair that is their source of revenue. They are going to start selling hair products as well. So they will mix shea butter with coconut oil, with olive oil, with all the oils, and make it into a cream and be selling it because it's something they know would be good for the hair. They might decide to make their own shampoo using organic products. I've seen shampoo that had an element of black soap inside. We all know black soap is good for the skin, right? So this particular shampoo had black soap inside and it had black seed oil inside. Very interesting combination, but the salon, the owner of the salon sells that as a product. That is another revenue line. Depending on the size of your salon, if you are fortunate to have a large space salon, some people have now decided that apart from even having my own stylist in the salon, I'm going to rent 1 or 2 stations within my salon to other hairstylists from different parts to come and work in my salon. So guess what I'm going to be getting? Rent from that table or from that chair. because we want to attract men into the salon, we don't want it to just be women. We're going to have a barbing station in one corner where some men can come and cut their hair, shave their beard. That is another line of revenue. So you should be able to identify all your lines of revenue, whether the business has started or the business is just about to start. Okay? It says add all those income sources together to determine how much money comes into your business monthly. So for those of us that are just starting out, these are the income we're expecting to come into our businesses monthly. If we can remember at the beginning of the training, we spoke about exaggerating. We did. Do we remember? We spoke about giving outrageous projections, outlandish projections. We're not going to do that here. Instead, guess what we're going to do? We're going to underestimate our projected revenue. Do we understand what that means? For our online participants, do we understand what it means to underestimate our projected revenue? If you do, kindly say yes. I see a yes already. We are going to underestimate our projected revenue. What that means is that if you believe that 10 people are going to visit your salon this week or today is Friday, the 12th of April. If we believe that we're going to get 10 customers in this salon today, when you are doing your projection, you write that you are going to get 6. Just in case the 10 don't show up for one reason or the other. So if you know that 10 people have called to say, I'm coming in today, you would write 6 in your budgeting plans. Because guess what? They might be willing to come. They might want to come. But as they were coming, maybe something happened, flat tire. As they were coming, Oga called them, oh yeah, divert, come back to the office. As they were coming, they called, your daughter is running temperature, you need to come and pick her from school. So anything can happen that are not foreseen or planned. So when we are budgeting, we have to budget for those unseen things that can potentially happen. Which is why we would under budget a little bit. So your projected revenue, it can't be the exact amount of money that you truly believe is coming. You would reduce it by a little margin, maybe 10%. That 10% is to leave room for eventualities. Does that make sense? So if you know that my product is an amazing product, I'm selling this power bank, and I'm selling this power bank for 10,000. And I've studied the market, I've done my market research, I've done a lot of background work on the people that use the power bank, how much they are willing to pay for the power bank, what other people are selling this exact power bank for, right? I've done all my homework. From all the things we have learned in the past, I know how to sell this power bank. But if I believe I can sell 100, I'm not going to write the 100 in my business plan. I would write maybe 80 or 90 because we said 10%. So 90 is what I will write that I can sell this year. So that extra 10 is going to come as a bonus if it happens. It will be a blessing. So that if for any reason we don't meet the 100 power bank sale, it does not affect our projections, our numbers. Does that make sense? So let's be very careful about when we are doing our budgeting. Okay, everybody says, yes, I do. Yes, 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 I do. Wow, somebody says she has 4 questions. Akuna Emenogu. We're going to take questions at the end of the training. Okay, yes. There are questions, they are very relevant questions, but we will take them during the question and answer session at 12 o'clock. So yes, so it's very important that we underestimate our figures a little bit, just to give us room for eventualities, because sometimes you are demoralized. I said I was going to sell 10 products this month and I sold only 5. You are demoralized, you are not happy. It doesn't give you the energy or the drive to want to sell again next month. But that's because you put your numbers too high. What if you said you were going to sell 10 products this month? 8 products this month. Chances are that it is more achievable than 10. So you will put all your effort and all your energy into making sure that you sell those 8. Now, if somebody now comes and says, oh, this power bank is so beautiful, I want to buy for my daughter as well. That's an extra sale. So that also works. Okay? It says it is important to do this for multiple months and preferably for at least the previous 12 months, provided you have that much data available. For those of us that are here, we do not have that data available. Only a few businesses here have identified that they are already in existence. But if you do have your 12 months financials from last year, you can see what you sold from last year, then that should be the benchmark in which you will use for this year. You know, when we are looking at numbers, like I told you, numbers is boring and sometimes it's complicated, it's hard, it requires a lot of brain work that we don't really want to do. But the reality is that we have to do it. Remember what I said? You don't have to like it, but you have to know it and you have to do it. So if you are saying a larger volume, last year I made 1 million, but this year I'm going to make 5 million. Make sure it is true growth. That is, I'm talking about those of us that have businesses already in existence. Make sure that that 5 million that we're earning today is true growth. Because the pricing we were using last year we were selling power banks at 1,000 naira per power bank. Now we are selling it at 5,000 naira per power bank. It's not because there is really growth, but it's because now it's costing us 4,000 to buy the power bank. Last year it was costing us 800. That's why we could sell at 1,000. Now it's costing us 4,000. That's why we are selling at 5,000. So our profit margin might not be more. It might seem that the figure is more, but in terms of value, is it really more? Are we still making 10% profit margin? Or are we making more? It's possible that it could be more. But that is why looking at your previous numbers is important, because it helps you understand exactly what is going on with your business. The reason you have to know everything going on with your business is because by the time you submit your business plan to your potential investor, not for the purpose of this training, but in the future to other investors, like those that want to expand internationally, they're going to ask you these questions. And if you really want that money, you have to have the right answers for these questions. I hope that is clear. You must understand our numbers. Our numbers is one of the most integral parts of our business. On the first day of class, I said, how many people know their turnover for last month? You remember? Only 1 or 2 people raised their hands. Did any of us go back to check? No. For those that already have existing businesses, who went back to check? In our online community, did any of you go back to check your numbers? Let's take a picture of this question, because I think they are relevant questions to ask before I lose it from scrolling. So did any of us, if you're online, did any of us go back to check our numbers? Oh, Taiwo Akinola said, yes, I did. That is commendable. Who else? Is there anybody else online that checked their numbers? Oh, wow. Wisdom Unegu also checked. Duabo Vanman checked. And I would be interested to see what you saw. Can you tell us a little bit about what you noticed from those numbers? We have quite a few people that actually went back to check. I see you all. Thank you all so much. Because what happens is when we go back to check our numbers, it tells a story, doesn't it? Do numbers tell a story? We believe numbers tell a story. What kind of stories do numbers tell? Any participant in-house wants to tell us? What kind of stories do our numbers tell us? We agree that they tell stories. Sorry? Okay, there's the microphone.
I said lost or gain.
That's the long and short of the story, right? If we made a profit or if we made a loss. Okay, I agree with you. But don't our numbers tell us a little bit more than just profit or loss? It talks about expenses. Do you agree? Expenses? Anything else? About the what?
The growth.
The growth. Wow, look at us. We're intelligent, very intelligent group of people. What else does it tell us? I agree with all of you. It helps you to prepare for next year. Wow. In fact, let's just dash everybody the grants now. You people are all winners. Let's just dash all of you. You don't need me here anymore. Let me pack my bag and be going. You guys are now the experts. It's true now. Anybody else? Let's see if we can get some feedback from online. What kind of stories do our numbers tell us? It talks, so Oyege Gabriel Mfem says it talks about the level of your business. Ogunride Oluwakemi says they tell stories of incoming and outgoing funds. I like that. Okay. Imalume Emmanuel says numbers tell us if there is growth, improvement, or if there is any shortcoming that needs to be amended. Thank you very much. Patience Idemudia says it tells us if indeed we are achieving our business goals and targets, both for the long term and short term. Oluwatosin Owade says our numbers tell stories of growth or the opposite. And Paul Ebrico says being able to look at your numbers briefly and know right away where you're doing well and what needs your attention is what helps businesses. And we have so many other comments like that. You are all correct. Thank you all so much for your feedback. Our numbers tell us all kinds of stories. It depends on the story we're interested in at the time. For the purpose of this grant, our numbers should be telling us about if the business is actually profitable or will be profitable. If the products we are selling or the service we are selling, if the pricing makes sense. If our costs are adequate. Our expenses, are they too much? Are they too many? Do we need a shop or we can actually start from home? Can we afford to buy that generator now or we need to wait for 6 months to buy that generator? You know, sometimes we want to, when you want to start something, you want to start big. Typical Nigerian mindsets, like, we have to dazzle them, we have to finish them. They must know that we have arrived. This is my salon. We go dagger them with the salon, right? But the reality is that sometimes we need to start small and grow organically. That will make our businesses more sustainable. Because sometimes when we start too big, we're overwhelmed with all the costs, all the expenses, and then there's no customer. Because when you start, how many customers do you really have? Maybe 1 or 2 to start with. Then you put in money into your marketing budget. You are now advertising, you are doing digital marketing. You are doing physical marketing, going to knock on people's doors. It takes time. It takes time, and I want us all to give our businesses grace. Give your business a grace. Don't say in first month, I'm going to sell 10,000 products. It's not possible, sir. I mean, it's possible, but it's going to cost a lot for that to happen. So let's give our businesses grace. Let's manage our expectations and set realistic goals for the business, especially for those that are just starting. For those that are already existing, in the course of the training, you've seen some of the areas where you've been making mistakes, you've not really paid attention to, and you should have been paying attention to them, 1 or 2 things here and there. But for those that are just starting, give yourself grace. Take it easy. Don't aim to sell 10,000 in 1 month. Not even in year 1. There are some businesses that before they even break even, it's going to take them at least 3 years because of the amount of money they put into the business when they were starting up. Do we agree? So let's give each other grace. Let's give ourselves grace. Okay, let's move right along. So I hope that is clear. We examine our revenue. So for those that are already in business, you are looking at your past revenue for the past 12 months. Every single month, look at it. And if your business plan is talking about a business that already exists, please show us. Show us your revenue from last year. 2023 revenue. You can even break it down into every single month. And then tell us what your new expected revenue for 2024 is supposed to be. It would be good to see it. But of course, for those that are starting off brand new, just tell us what you are expecting for 2024. And let's not forget, we're already in what month? So I don't want to see 12 months in 2024 in your business plans, ladies and gentlemen. If I see 12 months, that will be automatic. Automatic what? You said it, oh, no be me talk am. It's you that said it. I don't want to see 12 months in your business plans for 2024. Online participants, I hope you are with us. We do not want to see 12-month projection for 2024 business plans. How many months ideally should we be seeing if the deadline is on the 25th of April, 26th? How many months should we be seeing for 2024? 6 months. Because we're going to give you the money in May. So the business is going to start in, and June to December is how many months? 6 months. I'm sure many of us didn't think about that. We're ready to start January 2024. 12 months. This is my budget. Please, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that is clear for the online participants as well. Your financial projections for the purpose of this business plan should be starting from June. It should be 6 months for 2024. Okay? Please, let's not forget, very important, if I see 12 months, okay. I'm sure I won't see 12 months because we're all intelligent people. Moving right along, we're going to round off very shortly to take our stretch break. Can we have the slide, please? Okay. So on the previous slide, we spoke about examining our revenue. Where is the money coming from? Which products, which services? Where is the money coming from? Once we've identified that, we move on to the expenses. Big, 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 big deal. I cannot overemphasize our expenses enough. In businesses, because we want to do the most, we need an app, we need a website, we need an office, we need generator, do we really need all these things? And yes, even if the answer is yes, do we need them today? Do we need them now? Very important, because a lot of times this is where we make mistakes and this is where we get it wrong. We overburden ourselves with all these huge expenses at the beginning of our businesses, and at the end we get into trouble. So before you start thinking about your expenses in your businesses, think about the fact that I'm just starting this business. I don't even know how it's going to go. I've done some research, I have a plan, but at the end of the day, until I start working on that plan, I don't really know how it's really going to go. So let's minimize our expenses in the beginning. I hope that is clear. Let's not do everything at the beginning. They will still happen over time. Because to create an app, now if you want your business to have an app, my own selling point is that I want my customers, they don't need to call us, they just go on the app. It sounds great, but we're talking millions to develop an app. Do we have the millions? Some of us might. If you do, please borrow me some. I need some. Do you understand? So let's not put that pressure on ourselves and on our businesses. Some things can wait. Businesses are better when they grow organically, which means they grow naturally. Over time, your businesses will grow. So like I said, give the businesses grace. Don't overburden the business in the beginning with all these expenses. So it says subtract your fixed cost. The second step for creating a business budget includes adding all your historic fixed costs and using them to reliably predict the future ones. That is all well and good for the businesses that already exist. What about the businesses that are just starting? What are our fixed costs? Fixed costs are those things that I do, I don't do, I must pay. I must spend this money. I sell, I don't sell, I must spend this money. It is fixed and it usually does not change over time. For example, insurance, taxes, rent. That is for those of us that are buying or renting a shop. It comes as part of your cost. And for us, because of the size of our businesses, we're really micro businesses, starting off as micro anyway, which means our businesses are really small. Let's manage our costs. Let's manage our costs so that we can leave room to have a wider income or revenue. Think about it. Can I do this thing myself, or do I really need to hire someone to do it? At the beginning, like I told you, when you're starting your businesses in the beginning, you are the salesperson, you are the operations person, you are the CEO, you are the admin, you are the secretary, you are everything. So it takes a lot of hard work to start and run a business, especially at the beginning. But as you grow, some of those things can now begin to be outsourced. You can now hire, 5 years in, we can now afford to hire an accountant. I can't certify it. Why not? Abby? Yeah. But in the beginning, do you need an accountant? Better get your calculator out and start doing the accounting yourself. You will be the accountant, you will even be the lawyer. Yes. You will be the auditor, graphic designer, God bless you. You will do everything yourself, so I'm pleading with us. Let's learn to do some of these things ourselves in the beginning. It will help reduce our costs. And you know that once your costs, your expenses are reduced, the money that is coming back to you is more. And that's what we want. Now, when you're able to gather the revenue properly to a sizable amount, then the customer, it means that the customers are more. Customers are growing. Now I can't handle 200 customers by myself anymore. It's causing service delivery issues. I'm not able to manage all the customers by myself. Now I need to hire an assistant. In order to meet up with the demand, our phone keeps ringing 24/7. So now I think it's time we get a website so that the customers don't need to call us anymore. They can just go on the website. But that takes time. At that point, you are maybe in year 3, year 5 of your business. So it's good to have these plans for your businesses. I'm not saying don't plan for them, but just know that they cannot happen at the beginning stages of your business. Just make sure that it is only the things that get the product into the customer's hand that you should be focusing on today. Okay? Let's go ahead and take our 5-minute stretch break and then come back for the rest of the class. Thank you all. Online community, we'll be back in 5 minutes. We just want to stretch our legs and we'll be back shortly. Thank you.
Please stay back for refreshment.
Kindly settle down for refreshments because we'll be closing earlier today. We want to quickly serve the refreshments. Thank you. Okay, a few announcements. Welcome back, everyone. A few announcements. At the end of the session, for those physically present, we'll be having a group photo outside. So when we're done at 12:30, kindly hang around for the group photograph. For both the online participants and the participants physically present, we've been advised to tell you all that for the winners, the funds would be transferred to your bank accounts. There will be no exchange of cash. So if you do not have a bank account presently, we encourage you to go and open one. You can open one from any of the licensed banks in Nigeria. There is no preference. Our preference, however, will be that your bank accounts are opened in your business names. It's just easier for facilitation, to be honest. But we know that many of you are literally just starting your businesses. So the business name does not yet exist and the business account does not yet exist. That is fine because we are kind people. We just need you to have some type of bank account. So it could be your personal bank account or your business bank account. Don't submit your friend's account in the name of I want to use business account, business name. No, nobody sent you because your friend can jackpot with the money. We are not involved in that. You block the person. That's if you find, well, you have been advised, please do not use your friend's bank account. Your personal bank account will suffice, but if you have a business bank account, that will be perfect as well. For those who are physically present here, we would also advise that on the award-winning ceremony day, the day we are giving the grants, we would please like you all to be here present for the ceremony so that if you are part of those selected, you can be handed over the dummy check. You know, we can have a nice presentation, take pictures, have some content around that, and then the transfer will be done to your account. Right there on site. We are very efficient people and we mean business. So right there, you will get your credit alerts if the network cooperates. Right there on the spot, you are going to get your 500K for your businesses. So let's move right along. We are talking about the steps to create a budget. So we've talked about fixed costs, but we also have variable costs and expenses as well. Variable means that it changes from time to time. That's what it means. You know, the ideal scenario is just that in Nigeria, we do things a little different. Our rent is supposed to be fixed. You are not supposed to wake up one day and then you just see a letter, landlord don't increase rent. No, it doesn't work like that because it's a contract. So your rent is really supposed to be a fixed expense. It shouldn't be changing. But we have those that do change, the variable ones that sometimes they don't even show up as an expense. Sometimes they do show up. Sometimes it's 1,000, sometimes it's 10,000. Those are called variable expenses. So we must also put into account variable expenses. Who can give me an example of a variable expense? For the online community, can you give me an example of your variable expenses? Sorry about that. We're talking about variable expenses. We're going to have a short presentation. We're going to have a short presentation by one of our able participants. participants. I like that we are here for business. We mean business, and we are going to demonstrate the kind of business we mean through one of our participants who is coming up shortly to present. While we wait for the presentation, we're talking about variable costs and variable expenses. So someone says, Joseph Ada says, buying fuel for generator is a variable expense. Materials used for production price, yes. Another example, someone said repair and maintenance cost. Another person says fuel, yes. Groceries, bills, yes. Those are all correct. We're going to pause for just 2 minutes while we have this beautiful presentation by one of our very able participants. You see, you have to sell your business. You have to sell your business because nobody is going to sell your business for you. So we have the pleasure of having Darlington here, who is going to present his work. And we're all excited to see the work of Mr. Darlington. Please tell us a little bit about the work. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Ugodi Gallant. This is an art piece I did last week. As you can see, this is a simple medium, just chipboard with Netscape and charcoal pencils and pastel. The Netscape on it represent okay. Alright, so I was saying the Netscape on it represents the hard work, the discipline that the government are putting into to make the state and country a better place for us. And the space, the gaps in it represent the resource and a receipt statement of the citizens, the government, for certain things only them can explain, which I want to be able to say at the time. And the competition drawing of the president and ourselves represents, despite the insults and every other thing, they are still trying hard to make this country that place with smiles on their faces.
Thank you very much, Mr. Darlington. Kindly go ahead and present to Ms. Abiola. Thank you very much. Let's get pictures. Well done. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. Our president looks so handsome. Ms. Abiola looks so beautiful as well. It is a very beautiful and well done product. I think you will get customers already. So increase your revenue line because now you have a few more customers. Well done. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Darlington. Be good at what you do. Let's give him a round of applause. Be good at what you do. Be proactive. He just decided to do that on his own. Now, I'm sure 1 or 2 people are like, I'm going to call this guy after this session. Please, I'm going to call you after. Me too, I want my own. You didn't do for your facilitator, eh? Me now, I've been standing here for 5 days. Is it fair? I want my own, even though you must do Darlington. If not, we won't close this session today. Well done. Kudos to him. We have someone who also brought their products. I think some soaps and some detergents. Or who is the person? Okay, so you have your products. Can we see them as well? Bring them. This is we are advertising our businesses here because at the end of the day, we are looking for what? Customers. Who is to say that we don't have customers amongst us, or we are just focused on the 500,000? After the 500,000, don't we have to sell? Yes, we have to sell. So well done to him for that beautiful piece of art. And I'm serious, I do want my own. No jokes. Okay, so we're talking about variable expenses. We have to put into account those expenses that come in from time to time, or that their figures or values change from time to time. Let's not forget them. Because a lot of times we focus on only our fixed costs, the ones that are fixed, that we can't avoid and don't change. And we forget the variables. So let's make sure that we put into account our variable costs as well. We've mentioned a few: wages, salaries, raw material, NEPA, utility, depending on the line of business you work on, petrol, diesel, raw materials, all those things, they are variable because they will change from time to time, number one. And it's not all the time that you would need them. If we have good lights, we don't need petrol. But if transformer should blow, you know what that means. So it is a variable cost, the cost of our petrol and all that. I hope that is clear. For the online participants, please share your work with your colleagues, with your friends, your family, because you just never know. People are watching. We are streaming with thousands of people. Last week, we had over 4,000 people streaming on this training. Well over 4,000. So people are watching. So share your experience, share your product, your service, your business with your immediate community. State what you do here because people are watching. So for online participants, don't be quiet about sharing your businesses. It's part of marketing. You are marketing your brand and your product or your service. So well done to us. So yes, after we've taken out our fixed costs or fixed expenses, we will take out our variable expenses as well. Those variable expenses are important because they are still things that we have to spend money on. That's why we are not having a false perception of what our revenue is. We know that if we call 1,000 our revenue, that 1,000 is really our revenue. Not that we will call 1,000 our revenue, then remember that, I forgot to deduct the amount of money I spent buying NEPA lights yesterday. So it is very important that we calculate our fixed and our variable costs and expenses when doing our budgeting. For those that have businesses already existing, kindly show us what those numbers look like last year. It will be good to see. It will be good to see. Okay. Do we have any comments about that? Or we understand? Do we understand the variable cost? Okay, fantastic. So let's move right along. It says the next step is to set aside a backup fund for unexpected expenses, unexpected costs that might come up. Do things happen in our businesses that we didn't plan for? They do. They do. For example, the transformer can literally blow, and our line of business, we need electricity for it. The sewing machine is the electric type. So how do we sew? And we promised customer that we are going to submit or deliver these dresses in 10 days. And now there is no light because the transformer has blown. We've gone to PAT, and PAT said it will take 1 month for them to replace it. What do we do? So we have to plan for unexpected expenses. Very important. Now, what you budget ideally will be determined by your line of business, because I'm sure you are wondering, so how much do we put aside for unexpected expenses? I cannot answer that question. However, because I do not know the line of your business. So there are some businesses that if you put aside 10,000 naira, you're okay. It's a good emergency fund. But there are some businesses that you need to put at least 100,000 naira aside. So it will really depend on your line of business. However, you must set aside a backup fund. So when you are getting this 500,000, don't blow the whole 500,000 on expenses and costs. keep some aside, even if it's 10%, which is 50,000. Keep it aside for your emergencies, for those unforeseen things. You had a embroidery job to do, and your embroider fell sick, is not available to do it, and you promised the customer, because remember, we are delivering value, we're giving the customers an experience, and we have integrity. Our yes is our yes. So that embroidery must be done some way, somehow, which means we now have to give Mr. Lagbaja to quickly do the embroidery for us. Mr. Lagbaja is going to charge us. So those are some of the emergency funds we need to put in place. I hope that is clear. And even when we are considering our pricing, when we are coming up with our pricing strategies, let's remember that whatever premium we put on top of that pricing, we should have some of these emergencies put into consideration. Emergency like inflation, for example. I used to buy this water 800 naira. I slept last night. I was happy. This morning, when I wanted to buy it, they say it's 10,000 naira. I'm not happy. Am I now going to go and start telling my customers that every day the price has changed? It makes us look like we lack integrity, doesn't it? So we must put into consideration, when we are pricing this water bottle, we must put into consideration those factors that can affect our pricing. So for those people that do foreign exchange businesses, you know that foreign exchange sometimes it can change in seconds. Let me quickly just get your account number. Foreign exchange don't change. I just want to quickly use the toilet. By the time you come back, foreign exchange has changed. Dollar don't rise. But we thank God, dollar is coming down now. So glory be to God. And in the same token, the price might lower and benefit you. It's not all the time that the price goes up. So let's be fair. Sometimes the price actually comes down. Yes. But even though, whether it goes up or down, we must put it into consideration in our pricing. Okay? So it says set aside a backup fund for unexpected costs. When you're creating a business budget, make sure you put aside extra cash and plan for backup. When we say extra cash, we don't mean physical cash. Just put some money aside in your bank account as your emergency fund. So that when that generator breaks down, or when the sewing machine breaks down, or when your blow dryer blows, because the current that came into it was too high, your business does not pack up. You have some money to quickly replace it. And once you spend that emergency money, guess what you are going to do? Does anyone know? After you spent that emergency money, that backup money that you kept, do we know what we're going to do once we spent it? What? Replace it, oh. Please. You must replace it. It's there for a reason. So that when the next happens, we have money to cover it. Now imagine if you had maybe a partner and you had kept 50,000 as your emergency fund or your backup fund, and then the emergency that came required 100,000. Is it possible? It's very possible that the amount of money you had kept is not enough to cover the issue that has happened. It's possible. What if you go and meet your partner and say, oh boy, my generator packed up yesterday unexpectedly. The fuse, one thing, you explain what happened. And I need 100,000. It will be easier to say, I already have 50K. Please borrow me 50K. As opposed to, I don't have any money at all. Give me the 100,000. Do we agree? So sometimes, yes, we understand that your emergency or your backup funds cannot cover the emergency at hand. But your ability to say, I've put some money aside. I do have some money. I'm not asking you for everything. I do have some money, and in the next 3 to 6 months, I'll be able to pay you back because my business is thriving, but this machine must work for my business to thrive. I have 50K, I need 50K because what I need in total is 100K. Kindly help me. You will find it easier to get that help than if you are starting from zero. Do we agree? Online community, do we agree with that? Kindly put a yes if you do agree with me. Okay, I think our second participant is ready to do his presentation. Let's keep the presentation as under 1 minute, as short and as quickly as possible. Can he come up front? So, emergency funds or backup funds, make sure you put them aside. And that will form part of your expenses. So, if you are writing all your expenses, NEPA, this, that, put emergency expense there as well. Because it's something you are going to potentially spend at some point in your business. So, it's not a revenue, it's an outgoing. Are you ready, sir? You're not ready. Okay, let's proceed. We don't have much to cover for today with regards to budgeting. Determining our profit. How do we determine our profit? First of all, we need to understand that revenue is different from profits. Do we agree? What is the difference between revenue and profit? For our online community, can you kindly share what your understanding of revenue versus profit is? Okay, I see people have started introducing their businesses. That is good. Always, any opportunity you have to sell your business, sell it. Don't be shy. Sell your business. Coca-Cola, they are still doing advertising till today. Do they need to advertise? Don't we all know Coke? Even little children know Coke, Fanta, and Sprite. But they are still advertising till today. They are over 100 years old. They are still advertising. Nobody is going to sell your business like you. So it's very important that everywhere you go, you are your flag bearer. You are your walking billboard. You are advertising your business yourself. Your friends must know what you do. Your family must know what you do. We spoke about using WhatsApp status. Let the world know. You are not ashamed. I am trying to earn an honest living. So I will advertise my business everywhere I go. You care or you don't care, you will know that I do this business. Yeah, so that's how you are going to sell. Honestly. Sometimes we feel lazy, but I've already told them now. I didn't get any customer. No. Tell them till they are tired, till they patronize you. Let them continue to see your status. Till they call and say, come, this stem, you're always advertising. Now waiting be stems. Now we are getting somewhere. Now I have your attention. Thank you. Those 5,000 naira, you will know what stem is. Yeah, that's how you do business. So. You see, the successful business people, it's not from just chilling and relaxing. No. They were aggressive about their businesses because the competition is steep. There are a lot of people trying to do or already doing what we are trying to do. So we are just trying to come in now. When there are people who are already doing it, we have to work twice as hard for us to make a name for ourselves in the marketplace. Do we agree? We have to work hard though. Nothing comes easy. Nothing in life comes easy. The people that are successful for a reason. They work hard. They work hard. So let's see from online. We have some feedback. Desmond Tutu Uza says, revenue is the money generated from normal business operations, calculated as the average sale price times the number of units sold, while profit is a financial gain, especially the difference between the amount earned and the amount spent in buying, operating, or producing something. Thank you, Desmond. Garba Suleiman Adams states that revenue is money collected by the government and profits, income comes. No, we don't make fun of people here. Oh. It's a learning environment. So if you say the wrong thing, we will teach you the right thing. There's no need to make fun, okay? That could be me. Maybe I don't even know. Maybe I want to learn from you. So let's encourage each other, okay? Revenue is money collected by the government, and profits income comes at the end of your business or selling your goods. So we will clarify that. We have anonymous attendee. I will skip that. Junaidu Usman. Revenue describes income generated through business operations, while profit describes net income after deducting expenses from earnings. Ernestina Amadi says expense is what you put into make up the business, while revenue is the amount you get or spent in the business. Khalil Yusuf Saeed says revenue means the money that comes into your business either by selling products or providing a service. Profit means the money you make minus the amount of your product. If you sell soap 500, the exact amount is 400, the profit is 100. Thank you very much, Khalil. So, revenue is what we get from selling. Any money that enters that account is revenue. So once you've sold a service or you've sold a product, the money that comes into the business is called revenue. Some people forget that revenue is not profit. And that's why we are defining it clearly now so that you understand the difference between revenue and profit. Our end goal as business owners is to make profit. But we cannot make profit if we do not generate revenue. I hope that makes sense. That is why we need to identify the expenses we looked at earlier. Because when that revenue comes in, we now start to deduct our expenses and our cost. Whatever is left after all deductions is our profit. All the deductions, after all the deductions have been made, now we have profit. So majority of you are right, but he was right. Revenue is generated by the government. So yes, government does generate revenue. It's just that he mixed up, a little part of what he said. But I hope that is clear. And for our online participants as well, I hope that is clear. We're going to move on to our participant who has his products here to share with us. Please come forward, sir. Kindly introduce yourself and your products. And let's only take up just 1 minute. Thank you very much. There is the microphone.
Good day, everybody. I'm Paul Christopher Ibera, and our company name is Global Web Logistics Limited. And then from there we get Glotech. Glotech, you can see, this is a liquid soap. We produce this for your cleaning. Use it to clean your kitchens, your plates, and many others. We have this is the Vaseline. Look at this. I don't rub any other for me apart from this Vaseline. And that's the thing I'm telling you. The Vaseline I use and my skin is good. Yes, my skin is good. So I would recommend this for you guys to also test it. Those who got some of this product last week or this week, you can testify that when you use it, it's very, very good. What we use in producing this, we use, there's one chemical we call, most of you will know it, vitamin E. It's very good to the body. So we put the vitamin E into it, and that really helps your skin. So, we get so many. This one, when you have the things, it's cleaning you, your ankles, and all that. This is the most product that sells most in our place. What sells most is that. We are in the cool season now. This is very for the children. So a lot of things that we have the kids and all that.
So if we buy these products, how can we buy them?
Now, if you want to buy this product, we, we are located at Maraba.
Okay.
Yes, Maraba. And once you go to Maraba, you stop under the bridge, you just look for your left, where we call Asu Road. So, you take Asu, Butcher Market, we are there.
Fantastic.
Once you get there, you will see our signboard, you see, in fact, once you get
Low tech.
we supply this product in offices, hospitals, hotels. Some of the people are patronizing us very well. And that's why we say, let the office, let my colleagues here also order for their products.
Thank you very much. Kindly take a picture with Ms. Abiola. Very nice. Advertise your products. Sell your businesses. Nobody is going to sell your business the way you do. Nobody knows your products like you. So you should be the person selling your products and your business to everyone. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Well done. Thank you all. And I encourage the online participants as well to kindly share your lines of businesses. Even if you are out of state, doesn't matter. You might have other participants that need your product or service and don't know where to go. Share that information so that everybody can see. I know we have thousands of people, but you know, you never know who is watching. So well done. Thank you very much, sir. So, next we're looking at determining our profit. Can we share the slide? Thank you. Determining our profit. How do we determine our profit? We've said it, simple. We look at our revenue, all the monies that have come into the business. Every single amount of money that comes into your business is revenue, except it's a loan. That one is different. But we're talking about selling our products and services now. What comes in when we do that is revenue for the business, but it is not profit. Let's not mix the two together. So after we've taken our revenue and we say, okay, this month our revenue was 200,000 naira. Now we need to know what our profit is. Our profit is not for us to travel to the village to go and buy palm wine and bushmeat too. That's not the reason for the profit. You can use it to buy palm wine and bushmeat, or you can put it back into the business to continue to grow your business. The choice is really yours. So once you've determined your profit, what happens next, really? What does the profit really tell us? Because we already looked at our profit, our revenue streams at the beginning, we can now start to sit down and compare estimated versus actual. What we thought we were going to do versus what we actually did. Then it can tell us another story about some of the things we need to consider. If our profit margins are too low on water, every time the profit margin is too low, we might want to think about stopping the sale of this particular water. And if the profit margins are high, we might want to invest in more of the water. So your profitability tells you another story on its own as well. That's why numbers are good. We've already said it, that numbers tell us a story. They tell us a lot, and we've given examples of some of those stories that our numbers tell us. Okay? So we need to remember that revenue is different from profit, right? That profit is after we have taken all our expenses, all our costs away from the revenue, and whatever is left. And don't be discouraged, ladies and gentlemen, online participants as well. Don't be discouraged. Sometimes when we look at what that profit figure is, it can be discouraging because you've worked so hard and you've seen 1 million in your account, you are happy. or by the time you remove all your costs, it's less than 50,000 that is your profit. Don't be discouraged. You are a new business, so you have quite a number of expenses in the beginning. So your profit margins might be small in the beginning because of all the heavy expenses you had to spend or you had to make. But as the business grows, the generator you bought in January, are you going to buy it in June? No. So that expense is no more there. The rent you paid in January, are you going to pay it in November? No. So that expense is no more there. Okay? So don't be discouraged. When you're starting off a business, your profit margins might be slim, they might be smaller than usual, which is why you must be considerate when you are calculating your figures. Because when you are calculating your figures, you need to understand that at the beginning, profit margin will be small because of the heavy expenses you've made. I hope that is clear. So the last line says here that you should compare your projected profits to your past profits to make sure that they are realistic. This is for those that are already running a business. Am I making more profit or am I making less profit? What am I doing wrong? You see, the numbers are so important because they really tell us what we are doing right and what we are doing wrong, what we should add on and what we should take off. So as much as I said every part of the business plan is important, the financial part, the budgeting part, the numbers part, critical. Because that's really why we're in business. It's for the numbers, naira and kobo at the end of the day. So it is critical, and I would really like for each and every one of us to see it as thus. Next week, you're going to be starting off with organization and management. So this is what we're going to start with next week, just to prepare your mind. It says, this is the presentation of the organizational structure of the business, introducing key team members and their roles, responsibilities using the following tools. You now have to start thinking about your structure, because one of the reasons businesses fail, believe it or not, even small micro businesses like ours, is because we lack structure. There is no structure. Sometimes we'll open by 1, sometimes we'll open by 8, sometimes we'll close by 4, sometimes we'll close by 6. So, me that I came last week by 6 and you were open, and I come today by the 6 and you are closed, do you think I will be impressed as a customer? I will not. I'm like, these people are not serious. They don't know what they are doing. You must have structure. Define your resumption time. Define your closing time. Let your customers know and stick to it. Stick to it. Have defined prices for your products, so that even when you are not there, anybody you leave your product or business to does not need to start calling you to ask, sorry ma, a customer is here, I need to get the price. No. Because you've defined the prices already, they are clear and they are stated. As you start to grow as a business, you will have a management team. Who are the people managing the business? Who is the head of HR? Who is the head of accounting? Who is the head of operations? All those things, you will have that. You can start thinking about it, because remember, we are also looking at our vision. So the business plan is not just for what we are going to start with today. It's for the duration of the business. So you can put it there, what you think your management, what you would like your management plan, team to look like. So for this business, we're going to only need 3 employees. We're going to need the head of something, and we're going to need 2 administrative something. Put it there. And your facilitator next week will go into more detail about that. Your working structure. Like I've said, what time do we open? What time do we close? Can you pay with cash, or we are only transfer only? Do we use POS, or do we use, any other means of payment? Let the structure be defined. Because these are some of the ways where we experience revenue loss. When customer knows that the only place you can pay money into for this business is this bank account, paste it on the wall, let them see. So that if somebody wants to be funny and say, oh no, you can pay to my personal account, the customer already knows that this person is not being sincere. But if that structure is not in place, you can easily fall for revenue leakage or revenue loss. Expertise. When you start to expand your businesses and hire people, make sure you are hiring people that understand your business and have the skills to function in that particular role. If you notice, we talk a lot about when the businesses grow. We are not focusing on just now that we are starting and we have nothing. We're starting on a blank canvas. Where is our artist? He knows what that is. But the idea is to end up filling that canvas with a beautiful picture. Isn't it? So we will never only focus on where we are now. We will always talk about where we're trying to get to, which is why we're talking about our mission and our vision. Where do we want this business to be in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? So expertise is very important, because if you put a round peg in a square hole, you are going to be in trouble. So that expertise is very important. If you say you are hiring a braider, and she really braid, has she braided your hair? Have you seen her work? I remember there was someone that came to interview with me a few years ago and said he was a chef. And I was like, okay. And I asked him, I said, do you have any pictures of some of the food you've cooked before? And after 10 minutes of searching his phone, I kid you not, searching his phone for 10 minutes, he was able to show me only 2 dishes. That was number 1. Number 2, I asked him, I said, okay, as a chef, you said you've gone to culinary school, you've been cooking, you've gotten your certification. I said, okay, do you have a menu of the food items that you can make? Guess what his answer was? So I said, sir, help me help you. How do I give you this job when literally you have nothing to show me? Or is it by just saying I'm a chef that you'll get the job? Already it shows me that you are not ready for business. You are not ready to work. Because like I said, we should be a walking billboard for our company. If I'm a chef, the only thing you should see on my phone is food. Different foods I've been cooking all my life. That is all you need to see on my phone. When you open my social media page, my Facebook, even the display picture should be a food dish, not my picture. When I carry my bag should have maybe some kind of logo with fork and knife on it. You know, this guy is into food. If I want to eat meat pie, I can use fork and knife to eat meat pie so that people can ask questions. What's wrong with this? I'm a chef. That's why. I am a chef. So the truth of the matter is that you have to get the right people on your team. As the business grows, start to think about the people that can add value to your businesses. The people that can help your businesses grow. They must be experts. They must know the work. Me, I know the work, but the person I've hired now does not know the work. Is my business going to grow? My business cannot grow. Making mistakes, confusing the customer, making the customer face pain and agony is not what we want to. We want people that can ease our stress and grow our businesses. Budgeting, we've tried to simplify it as best as possible, because we know that we are not all accountants and we are not all good with numbers. So that is the basic thing you need to know about your budgeting. As startup SMEs, right? Small businesses that we are just starting up. So if we get this 500,000 naira grant, what are our expenses? What is our projected revenue? We can only know that if we follow the processes we've spoken about over the past couple of days. Okay? So next week you would be looking at organization and management, and they will be simplifying each of these things for us. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of the course for today and this week. We would open the room now for questions, comments, feedback before we round up for today. Like I had said earlier, we would close around 12 o'clock to give room. The training will end at 12 o'clock to give room for a lot of questions before we round off completely at 12:30. So, the room is open for our online participants. I see a few hands already going up. If you've indicated by raising up your hands, you would be asked or enabled to open up your video and your audio so you ask your questions directly so that we can answer them. And the floor is open. Ibrahim Dalhatu, your hand is up. Kindly unmute yourself. And share your video. Okay, I can see you. Kindly go ahead.
The kind of thing I'm going to collect. Is it transfer cash, or I can include all, or I'll just keep it in mind. So any customer that comes, maybe I'll just pay. So that's my question.
Okay. The audio was a bit low, but I think I have an idea of what you said, and kindly correct me if I'm wrong. You're talking about the structure of your business. From day one, you should already have structure in your business, which means from day one, you should know the amount of hours you want to spend in your business every day. So that tells us about your resumption time, tells us about your closing time. You should have an idea of the number of people you believe it will take to manage and run these businesses effectively. Okay? So that should also be put into consideration. We have some background noise. Can the tech team please mute the non-speakers? Thank you. So I hope that is clear. From the beginning of your business, you should already know. That is why we are doing a business plan. We are planning. So we should already know the number of people we believe in year one, for example, would manage this business to profitability or would run this business to profitability. In year one, we should know that this is going to be our location. We are going to be selling from home. In year one, at the beginning of our business, we should know the prices of our products and services. We should know our resumption and closing time. We should know our mode of receiving payments. We should know all these things. And you're going to look at structure, like I said, in more detail next week so that you can have a better understanding of what that entails. So I hope that is clear. Thank you, Ibrahim. We have other people signifying interest in speaking. Kindly raise your hand if you are interested in speaking. Okay, we have Otuya Juliet. Otuya Juliet, can you kindly unmute yourself? Otuya Juliet, your hand is up. Can you kindly unmute yourself and share your video? Is Otuya Juliet available? No? We have someone on, but you don't have a name. It just shows the name of your phone, so I wouldn't be able to call you up. Is Promise Emmanuel available to, your hand is raised. Promise Emmanuel. Okay, we have a lot of hands raised. If you've raised up your hands, kindly make sure you're available as we can call on you at any time to ask your question. Promise Emmanuel is here. Okay, kindly unmute yourself and ask your question. Thank you.
Hello?
We can hear you. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am. And good afternoon, everybody.
You want to turn on
my
your
question
video
is,
so we can see
my name
your
is
face?
Emmanuel Diapame from Delta State. So my question is, like I'm into snail farming, though I've not officially started, but I have a little cage, a small cage where I train snails. So with this grant, I'm hoping to start an official business with snail farming. But during the course of the presentation, I heard that during the business plan presentation, if I've gotten it right, so the business plan should not be more than, as in, the presentation should not be more than 6 months or 7 months thereabout. So, like, I want to ask, like my snail farming now, once I start within from that May, where I will be given a grant, down to December, which is a 6 to 7 months thereabout, my snail will not be mature to give me a return on that distance. So during the while writing my business, according to write my business plan, according to my product, or according to the snail farm that I want to back into.
Okay, that's very clear. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. The reason why we spoke about 6 months is because usually you want to identify the first year of your business in your business plan. And we don't have 12 months left in the year. We only, at the time when we get these grants, we're going to have only 6 months left in the year. That was the primary reason why we said you can only budget or plan for the remaining 6 months in your business plan. However, because of the cycle and the nature of your snail, you can still show us when those snails are going to mature and be ready for sale. That only means that your 6 months is part of the growth sorry, I'm not in agric. I don't know the right word. Production. We produce food. I mean snails, like real. Okay. So that would be part of the production process. And that is even better because it tells us the cycle. Remember, we've been talking about business cycles, that some businesses are cyclical. We spoke about mangoes this morning, right? I'm still expecting my mangoes, by the way. So it just tells us that your business is a cyclical business, and it maybe takes 10 months for snails to be produced. It takes 8 months for snails to be produced. It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that with the 6 months, I just don't want to see you talking about January that has passed, February that is no longer existent, March that has passed. That's what I was trying to say. So when you are taking into account your figures, you cannot be talking about January, February, March, and even April, because they would have passed by the time this money touches your hand. So that was what I meant to say. But if your cycle is going to go beyond December, that's fine. Show us and tell us. That's not a problem at all. I hope that clarifies. Thank you very much. We have a lot of hands up. I'm just picking at random, not in any particular order. We have someone, Fatai Kasali. If Fatai Kasali is available, you've raised up your hand. Can you kindly come online? For the interest of time, we would only be giving a few minutes to each person to ask their questions, to come online by turning on their video. Okay, let's move right along. Is Chikwem Ijoma online? Your hand is raised. You can go ahead and ask your question. Chikwem Ijoma. Do we have Chikwem Ijoma available? Chikwem Ijoma. Okay. We have Adelaja Kudos. Are you online? Adelaja Kudos. Your hand is raised. If you are online, kindly come on, turn on your video, unmute yourself. Okay, Adelaja Kudos, you seem to be here. Can you kindly unmute yourself? Okay, you're unmuted. Kindly go ahead with your question. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Good morning. Kindly go ahead with your question.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, please, I want to ask, why writing the business plan? Do I need to get branding elements like logo, brand colors, before I can write my business plan? Or it's after it will be included in the business plan?
Okay, honestly, branding, logo, all those things, they're just part of your advertising strategy, right? They're part of how you're going to get your products to be liked or to be seen or to be perceived by the client. If that is going to come at a cost to you, it has to be in your business plan. It has to be. If that is something that is important to you and you feel I need to brand this business before I start, then yes, kindly include it in your business plan. Otherwise, if it's something that you're going to do maybe in a year from now, then it's not necessary. A lot of people are, running their businesses and they don't necessarily even have a logo, they don't have a brand, they don't have a business name, but they are selling. Abi, they are selling. So those things, depending on the nature of your business, they might not be important at the beginning, and depending again, they might be. So it really depends on your line of business. But if it's an expense that you are going to incur, then yes, it should be in your business plan. Okay, thank you very much. You can kindly go ahead and mute yourself so that we can give other people the opportunity to speak. We're going to move right along. We have so many hands raised. Abdul Salam Yusufu. If you're online, kindly come up with your video and unmute yourself. Abdul Salam Yusufu. We're only going to be giving like 30 seconds to each participant to come online. If you're not speaking, we please implore you to kindly mute yourselves. Kindly mute yourselves. We have over 100 hands raised. We may not be able to get to everyone, but we will certainly try. We have Rohimo Abdulaziz. Is it Rohimo? Yes. Rohimo Abdulaziz. If you are available, kindly unmute yourself, turn on your video, and go ahead with your question. Rohimo Abdulaziz. Okay, let's move right along. If Adeyemi Oluwaseun is available, your hand is raised. Kindly come on. Adeyemi Oluwaseun. Kindly come on and ask your question. Unmute yourself. Turn on your video. Adeyemi Oluwaseun. Okay, we're going to move to the in-house participants and maybe go back to the online participants, so that we give them the opportunity also to ask their questions. In-house participants, the floor is open. We have someone already raising his hand in blue. Yes.
My name is Delorean. My problem is actually conversation around scale. You can have a very good business plan. I've actually been in a room where investors are scaling. I want to understand how the relationship between scaling and projected business budgeting, the correlation between scaling, budgeting, expectation.
Remember we spoke about business versus hobby. Do we remember? that some businesses are actually just a hobby. If your business cannot scale, what does it mean to scale? Sorry? What does it mean to scale your business? It's to grow the business, really. So for the past 3 years, we've been selling just 500 products. We need to scale. We need to start selling 10,000 products. That is scaling.
That's where investors actually say scale down. Because growth is actually the intention of any good business person. So when they say scale down, it's actually going to reduce the pace of your growth. And usually that's actually the sucker punch. They will tell you scale down, and you'll be like, wow, it means you have to start all over again, and you might not want to go that route. But usually that's actually what investors say to you. They say scale down. It's more like a sucker punch.
Scale down. Sometimes the business is not ripe. It's not ready for that line item or for that level of growth that we've put into the business. But when we start looking at each line item, profitability of each product and each service, we will see that the business is not ready for this particular thing that we are doing. So for now, we need to scale it down a little bit and focus on what is actually working and thriving. Because sometimes that particular line of business, of that particular product or service might be eating up too much into our revenue. The costs are too high presently for the business. So it's eroding the revenue. So in those instances, you'll be asked to scale down. Should we even get to the point of scaling down in the first place? Because the idea is to know our businesses thoroughly. Because we are going to be looking at our numbers on a month-to-month basis now. We're going to know the products or the service that bring in the most money. We're going to know the product or the service that is eating up or eroding our profitability. We're going to know the product or service that we are just spending money on this product. We are just spending money, but it's not bringing in any revenue. We're going to be able to see that. So maybe those products are the ones that are bringing in, they're taking the largest amount of costs or expense, and they're bringing in the least amount of revenue. Investor might have seen, I'm like, you know what, this particular product, scale it down. The business is not ready for it. So that might be the reason. I've not seen the business plan, so it's really hard to talk blindly, to advise blindly. But that could be one of the reasons. Hope that is clear. Anybody else in-house? We have the young lady. Thank you.
My name is Rabi Blessing.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, and my question is, I'm a fashion designer. I recently, last year, I think around September, I had an idea to start upselling meat pie and zobo. So I didn't know how the turnout was going to be. So when I started making, I noticed the zobo was kind of exceptional. Like, a lot of people started testifying about it. So I don't know, should this be included in my business plan? Because it is something, I notice a satisfaction from it, from the customers. So I don't know, should it be included in my business plan? Because it's something I want to continue. I don't know if it should be.
Okay, so is your business plan for the fashion business or for the zobo business?
That's what I want to know. Should it be together or
hey,
should it now be
cover your
two
work,
businesses?
Cover your work. We know them. That's what you want. You want me to answer for you? Sis, unfortunately, I cannot answer that question for you. Only you can answer that question because you know your interests. You know where you stand financially. You know the money is involved. You know I don't know anything. I know how to teach. That's it. But in terms of running a zone, if we start, I wouldn't know. Fashion designing, I'm the worst. So honestly, that is your decision to make. You can do your business plan for either of them, is what I can tell you, because they are two very different lines of businesses. You might want to operate them in silos, right? So operate the fashion business as a fashion business, operate the Zobo business as a Zobo business. So if you are ready to do Zobo, you've already started getting good feedback on the Zobo business. Run it as a business on its own. This is my Zobo business. So everything concerning your business plan should be about the Zobo business. And the good part about Zobo business is that it can be, it can, it's a good business. It's a good business. Zobo has many nutritional benefits. So people are inclined to drink it. I drink Zobo, but I drink it as tea in the mornings, hot. So the truth of the matter is that that choice can only be determined by or made by you. But both are great businesses. They can both be scaled. If, what's it called? Presidency now is looking for someone that can be making uniforms for all the staff in the villa, and they call you. That's scaling now. You are now producing 10,000 uniforms every year. It's scalable. So both businesses are scalable businesses. So yeah, either or would be fine, but that choice would be yours. Sorry. I know that's not the answer you're looking for. Huh? I've answered her question. Okay. Thank you. Who else? Do we have any? We have in the back, behind you, yes, in the white. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ahmed. My question is, due to like the course focusing on skills acquisition and developing in-made goods, so what do you think about importation of goods from other countries into the country? Like, should that be around, like, maybe to say you are to import goods from another country into the country? Writing a business plan on it, can that give you the opportunity to also win that grant, like, coming in?
Excuse me. Well, there's nothing wrong with importation. That's the truth. Producing is better because it has more advantages. You are employing labor, you are generating revenue from internal, from inside Nigeria. So many benefits. Maybe cost of production is also lower. You are not exposed to foreign exchange issues. So there are many factors, there are many reasons why producing locally is better. However, remember the size of the grant you are getting. It's 500,000 naira per participant that wins. So if you feel like importing using that grant will help your business, why not? You can't say no to that. We can't say no to that. I don't even know the line of business, but if it is a business that you feel the products must be imported, then that's the business, right? So it just means that it's whatever the 500,000 naira can get you that you would be using the 500,000 naira for. So I hope that is clear. Do we have anybody else? Behind you, we have someone. Yes.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Sorry, it's afternoon already. My question is regarding the Zobo business and the fashion designing she just talked about. We registered with a certain business. Example now, if we want to write our business plan, can we go outside what we registered with?
Yes, we spoke about that last week or class. It's possible that when you came in here, you had registered for the Zobo business. That was what you wanted to come here to do. But after you've heard this amazing woman called Mrs. Bukola speak about how to do a business plan, you're like, you know what? I actually don't want to do my business plan on Zobo anymore. I want to stick to my fashion business. Because Ms. Bukola has articulated this business plan training so well that now I've changed my mind. Why are you? Did Ms. Bukola articulate? Instead of me to be clapping for Ms. Bukola. Thank you. But do you understand what I mean? You are allowed to change your mind. So we understand that because we didn't know what it really takes to do a business plan coming here. We actually came in here blindly for most of us. And we had a perception of what we were supposed to do. So we registered as cakes and bakes. But now that we know better, we are not doing cakes and bakes with this business plan anymore. We now want to do arts and crafts. It's okay. You can change your mind. So yes, please feel free. We want you to do what you feel this 500,000 naira can really assist you with to achieve your end goal. That is what we really want. So the line of business is not, it can be anything really. We're open to all business ideas. Okay, I hope that clarifies. Okay, how many minutes do we have? We have 8 minutes to go. So let's take a few more questions. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Who was raising his hand? Oh, sorry. So after her, go to him and then we go back online. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon.
Please, I would like to know if I can include pictures of my goods and services in the business plan. And secondly, I wanted to expatiate more on net income.
What do we think the answer? Can we include our pictures of our products in our business plan? What do we think? I say you have, Auntie, you have to be a walking billboard for your business. If your products are beautiful, you don't want me to see it. How will I patronize you? Just by reading. Put it now. Let me be excited about patronizing you. So yes, please, if you have nice pictures, pictures that will add to the business plan, not the ones that will. Please feel free to ask. Of course, we don't have pictures now, so that one goes. It's not mandatory. It's not. It's not mandatory. But if you, that's why I said, if you feel it will add to the flavor of the business plan, please go ahead and add it. No. It has to be the actual product. So if the business does not exist yet, then forget about it, right? You know, the business might not be existing, but the products are ready. So if the products are ready and you feel like it will add to the flavor, I will call, of the business plan, then yes, please, by all means, you can add it. Remember, we're going to talk about our company profile. Okay, so we're going to talk about everything concerning the business, the company, and all that. So you can add your pictures, sure. And then the second question was about net profit. Net income. It's the same thing, really. It's still what you have left after all your expenses. Your income is how much you are earning. So if you're paying yourself a salary, that is your income. So there are some businesses that it's better to pay yourself salaries. Please, it's better. Pay yourself a salary. So if your business can only afford to pay you 20,000 every month, earn your 20,000 every month and live within your 20,000 every month. Because when you don't pay yourself a salary, that is part of the structure you are lacking. So now the company money, you are now using it to buy gari, buy semo, buy things that you can't afford. You are using the company money to buy it. How does the business grow? Because the money you are supposed to be putting back into the business for it to grow, you've used it to go and buy gari and beans. But if you know that this business, so based on all the sales I make monthly, can only pay me 50K, you know that your income is 50,000. And you live within that 50,000. That is your income for the month. That is what you get paid from the business. So your net income is after you've removed all your monthly expense, everything that you've spent for the month. Whatever is left is your net income. So that is for us as individuals, but profit is for the business. So your net profit is the same process. Every expense that the business has incurred for that month, taken away from the revenue that has entered the business that month, is the company's net profit. So I hope that clarifies. We have a young man here. Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I wanted to ask, you said we shouldn't add overly expensive things in the budget, like the application that you were talking about. You said we shouldn't add that.
I didn't say don't add.
Okay, you mentioned that.
I'm just advising you.
So I don't know, how do we now put that? Because maybe that is like a projection, a management structure. But let's say saying we need to have people that are managing application and social media profiles and the rest. So how do we add that into our management structure?
Yes, in the management structure. So let me understand this. The app, how is that tied to the management structure? The app. So are you getting the app from day one? That's exactly what I was trying to explain. That the business might need the app, like you've rightly said, is what is going to help you manage some things. But you don't need that app right now. So it might not be part of your startup expenses or cost. You can put it there as part of the vision, part of the company profile where you see the businesses in 10 years, in 5 years. You can put that in there. You can put it as part of your profile. But when it comes to the expense itself, it might not happen now. So that was what I was trying to say. Because we're starting with a finite amount of funds. We have just 500,000. So we need to be really strategic about how we spend that 500K. If you want to spend that 500K on an app now, sir, it won't even be enough to do the app. So how do you buy your products? How do you package? How do you advertise? So that's just what I was saying. Like, let's think about all these things before we do the big expenses up front. Big expenses can come later on. Yes, ma'am.
I'm so sorry.
Last question.
Thank you, ma'am. Please, ma'am, you said that for pre-existing business, that we should include our financial projection for 2023.
That will no longer be a projection. That will be what happened, the actual financial statements, yes, of what 23, yes.
And we are still going to include the one for
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, that.
Yes. It will just help us see any story that needs to be told about last year, right? And help us see where you've made mistakes about your projections for this year, or where you are actually getting it right in terms of your projections for this year. Okay? So the business plan itself, the business plan that we're doing, there might be a little bit of advisory at the end. I don't know. I will talk to our SSA here. Maybe we can give 2 businesses advisory, 2 businesses that win. The toppest 2 businesses, maybe we can give them some level of advisory, complimentary advisory on the next steps for their businesses. Because if you get it right, you are going to win the grant. And if you win the grant, we want to make sure that from day one, you are doing the needful. So we might consider that. Don't quote me, I've not said it. But yes, the reason why we want to see what you did last year is to make sure that the projections you are making for this year actually make sense and are realistic. Because sometimes we get it wrong. But for those that are just starting, is next year we will now go back to look at this year's numbers to see if our projections for next year are realistic. Because remember, we don't want to do anything too outlandish. We don't want to do things that are not achievable. Okay? And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to throw it back to the online community for just 1 or 2 more questions. Hopefully, we have people ready to speak. We still have all these hands up, but when I call their names, they don't come online. Okay, let's go with, there's a name I want to try and pronounce. Wish me luck. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We see some hands up, a lot of hands, over 300 hands are up. We would like Kuro Bosenanadao. Woo. And it's like the person knew I was going to call them and disappeared. They quickly put their hand down. The hand, okay, still there. Kurobo Senanandao Muke or Muke. I'm so sorry. It's a beautiful name. If you're still here with us, kindly unmute yourself. Kurobo Senan Nadao. Kurobo Senan Nadao is one word. Muke. Are you on here? Your hand is raised. We have just a few seconds to go. Okay, Kurobo Senan is not online. We have another hand. We can call one more hand before we close. Fatai Kasali. Is Fatai Kasali online to ask his question? Fatai Kasali. Is Fatai Kasali around? Okay, well, on that note, we have come to the end of week 1. We will just go over a few housekeeping communication. Again, you would be receiving a new facilitator on Monday who will take you through for the rest of next week. Don't worry, he's a good guy. You'll be happy. Our last day for this training would be next week, Friday, the 19th of April. Our submissions will be due close of business, which is 5 p.m. on the 26th of April. We would need a couple of weeks to assess and shortlist the winners for the business plans. And as such, we would be having the grant giving ceremony on the 30th of May. We encourage you all to please be physically present for those physically here, so that in case you're one of the winners, we present you your check and the transfer is done. We encourage every single participant to open a bank account in any of the registered and licensed banks in Nigeria. If you have a business account, that is fine. Otherwise, a personal account will suffice. The payment will be made via transfer to your bank account. There will be no cash handed. And, I'm really looking forward to seeing your business plans. I wish you all great success in your endeavors. And this is goodbye from me. So thank you. I know, even me, I want to cry. Oh, my God. So thank you. Yes, so I spoke about that earlier in the morning. The second facilitator would be sharing that towards the end of the program, because we don't want you guys to just copy and paste. I mentioned that I actually have it here. So this particular business plan is 33 pages long. So this is one, and we would be sharing it closer, maybe on on Thursday next week, right? So just before the class rounds up, he will be sharing this copy physically around. It's just for you to skim through, right? Because we don't want you copying it, because every business plan is unique to your business. So it's just to see what one actually looks like, right? To see if all the things I've been saying truly are true. And you can see an example in an actual business plan. So for those online, he's going to show snippets, just a few pages here and there of the actual business plan with them. He would probably do it at the end of the class next week, okay? But yes, we've not forgotten. I spoke about it this morning. You will get to see a business plan. Thank you. Have a beautiful weekend.
To a promising new year, I am excited to announce Unlock, in alignment with the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is to foster lasting economic growth and prosperity. Unlock is the transformative campaign initiated by my office, aiming at unlocking the potential of our nation's technicians and artisans. Our goal is empowering the youth to live their dreams by guiding them on how to create commercial and sustainable businesses. I am even more excited to announce that it's open to everyone, regardless of your background, your age, your gender, and your literacy level. We invite you to be part of Unlock. If you are trying to unlock a brighter future, your opportunity is here. And all you need to do is grab an internet-enabled device and share a 90-second video on Facebook or Instagram. In this video, tell us all about your vocational experiences, your 2024 plans, and how the government can help you in your technical and vocational and entrepreneurship goals. Also, include hashtag my 2024 TVEE goals in the caption and tag my official page at Abiola_Arogundade_SSA. All successful applicants will get a free 2-week virtual entrepreneurship program and the chance to win startup kits or toolkits. Exceptional entries will receive cash grants to support their TVEE goals. I can't wait to see and review your submissions. Thanks and best of luck in unlocking your future.